Monkey mouth. Monkey mouth. Monkey mouth.
So the thing about truth is that there's no real communicating it. Like, all I can do with my monkey words is like orient you in the direction of what I believe to be truth, right? But like the real truth of the matter is incommunicable. Like, our monkey words just are never going to get there. You know, it's like I could tell you perfectly what I believe love means, right? And you can conceptualize my definition of love as a two-dimensional snapshot of a concept, right? Like, you have like a square that is Josh's understanding of love. And you can take your little snapshot of what love is, right? Now we have two and a third, and you have a ceiling and a fourth, and like eventually you have like a cube, and the surfaces of that cube are defined by individual conceptions of their understanding of a concept, right? And I believe that the closest that we can get to truth is understanding all those perspectives and looking inwards toward the center of mass of that shape that I just described, right? There's going to be a center of mass from which all of those conceptions emanate out from, right? And you can peer through all these different windows at the thing, right? I can look at love through the perspective of you and get a good look at the nugget of truth that is love deep down in there. But that's about as close as we're ever going to get. Yeah. And so that thing that I just described, how he made that shape with conceptions, that's what you could call the form of love, right? Like, it has like love in the galactic scale has a shape, right? And that shape is defined by every single conception that every single living being across every conceivable existence anywhere are rolled up into a ball. I had a really, really tremendous psychedelic experience meditating in my bedroom on LSD, and I was able to ask the galactic consciousness, the thing that compels all of us to move, what the purpose of life was. And it told me, well, it didn't tell me, it showed me that it was love. And when it showed me, it didn't say love, it showed me like this drop of pink food coloring that like dropped down on me, like exploded into this like wild geometric shape, and it was like glistening and just immaculate. And it was evident to me that every single surface of that shape was one of these conceptions that I just described, right? Like, imagine a cube with however many sides, then a hexagonal thing, then an octagonal thing, and then eventually you get to 100 quadrillion surfaces. And all of those surfaces are an individual's conception of what love is. And it showed me the galactic consciousness's understanding of love, the universal form of love. And I was able to peer in through a million different little windows into the center of mass of it and like get a closer look at what love really is. But it was very evident to me that the definitions of things and the truth of matters are very fluid depending on the perception of the individual that's looking at it. And like, we all have a beholdable truth that is ours. Yeah. And that's as close as we're going to get. And like, you can't expect everybody to understand everything the way you understand it, because we're all just oriented.
I'm literally the same way, man. Like, I feel like I've got a lot of understanding for things, and my whole life I've had like a hard time like getting those words out. And like, I feel like a lot of my relationships have fallen off because of things like that, because I'm not able like to express myself in a certain way. But I feel like it's on me because I haven't been able to express myself a certain way, and that makes the other person make I don't know, bro, like, because I always feel misunderstood in every almost every situation ever. I'm like, because I try my best, like even like, that's why I like comedy so much, because I feel like I can just go up there and be myself without having to say sorry, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's weird because like I'll make a joke to somebody that I won't really know too much maybe, and they'll take it so like, they won't take it serious, but you can tell like they'll look at you different, and like it's hard for me to be like, oh bro, I'm literally just kidding, like I'm 100%, because like people, I feel like people hear that all the time, but like whenever I say stuff, like I mean it genuinely, and whenever I tell a joke, it really, I don't know if it throws them off, but it throws me off, and it throws both of us off maybe, because like I didn't mean it, but people take that. I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to convince you that I'm not like this. So it's like a weird battle with myself.
Well, here's the deal, is that there are certain people who comedy is simply lost on. Yeah. Right? And that's a 1 out of 4 1 out of 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
And like those people who you're just trying to be funny to, who like take it the wrong way, you don't necessarily owe it to them to feel bad that they didn't take what you said the way you wanted. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like you tried your best to express yourself in a way that you thought was funny,
and
right?
It's weird because I feel like a lot of my funny comes from like truth, and that's where people will get uncomfortable.
Well,
because like it's truth. Like it'll like I'll have a joke about maybe something political, and it's like say it's like a Donald Trump joke. I don't really mess with Donald Trump, but then I'll make a joke that's siding with Donald Trump or something like that.
Yeah, you could be like Donald Trump said a thing that like I thought was funny. And, like, I saw a nugget of truth there, and you say that, and all of a sudden people are, like, looking at you funny. And here's the deal, bro, is that you need to shine your light as honestly and as truthfully as you can.
Yeah.
And the cream will rise to the top.
And I've seen it. And I've seen it plenty of times, but it's like one of those things. It's like a me problem. It's like, it's always been a me thing. I've fucking thought about it forever.
You just have to get over wanting to be liked by everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
that's another one of my things. I have my stints and whatnot.
One of my favorite things to say is to make some enemies. Mm-hmm. Live a little. Be yourself. Yeah. If you're leading a life where you're being bold and authentic, you cannot help but create enemies. Exactly. Gandhi had enemies, my dude. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like literally everybody who's ever led a life that like was worth mentioning, everybody that's ever been in a fucking history book had enemies. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because they're bad people. It's because they were being authentic in it. And there's something about, there are so many widely varying ways to look at the world that there's just going to be a certain percentage of people who misinterpret what you're doing and think that you're doing something bad. And there's nothing you can do except for try and honestly communicate to those people that you're not doing what they believe you're doing. Yeah. But if they're not willing to accept your truth and they want to keep living in like their little delusional bubble that they created based on how you've acted, that's their business, right? And like you can't control how people are gonna how people are gonna act, how people are gonna perceive you.
That's what I get caught up in because I get frustrated with myself and that person because
you don't like being misunderstood,
and I don't want to be that person to them. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be that person where they're like, "Oh, Matt, Jesus Christ, Matt."
You've got to get over that. You got to get over that, bro. You've got to get over that.
But it's hard to, like, when you got, like, family members that are like that. You know what I'm saying? You got, like, close friends that's like that. It's, like, it's weird. It's, like, a weird thing.
Here's the honest truth, is that you're not living your life for those people.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, maybe you have been, right? And maybe that's why it bothers you so much, is that you have such a high value in your mind about how other people feel about you. But I'm here to tell you, man, that, like, the truthier you are, the more true to yourself that you are, you're gonna create bigger waves. And some people don't like their pond being rippled in. Yeah. And it's just that simple. Some people would literally rather you never say a word and they just be able to project their own feelings onto you.
And it's crazy because I remember, like, when I was growing up, like, being, like, fucking elementary school, I used to get in trouble a lot for just talking, literally. And I used to get in more trouble for getting mad at the teacher for, why you getting mad at me for just talking? Literally just talking. Yeah. And I get in so much fucking trouble. And then I realized, growing up, going to, like, middle school and getting, like, just those few years, I'd find myself just literally finding myself just shutting up so I wouldn't get in trouble. And it's helped me in a way, like, a more, it made me very observational and, like, made me look at the room, read rooms, to be like, are you really, like, just to understand what are you doing?
Well, I want you to understand that out here in the real world, right, there is no teacher to slap your wrist because you're talking too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've gone from high school to college and you've been living a life where there are, like, clear authority people, like, that are effectively dominating your behavior throughout a significant portion of your existence, right? And I'm telling you right now that, like, out at the HEB, bro, like, there's no teacher who's going to come and scold you. Yeah. Live your best life. You know what I'm saying? And so living under, like, that, like, quasi-fascist authoritarian rule as a student can really do a lot to your psychology.
Yeah, and it's weird because I've been, like I said, it's been like one of those things, like, back and forth. And another thing is, like, I've known this. Like, I've known if I was able to act the way I wanted to when I was younger, I'd be great. Like, it was just one of those feelings, like, why can't I be myself? Why can't I do this? Because I felt like I always knew if I'm acting the way I am right now, like, I'll be good. Y'all's reaction to the way I am, it throws me off because, like, I'm not doing much.
So what you need to do I mean, and obviously take us all with a grain of salt, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm never trying to tell you how to act. I'm just trying to offer my honest 2 cents from my perspective under my rock. And it's that if you do you as hard as you can for as long as you can, all those people who are making you feel awkward will vanish in due course. Yeah. And eventually you will have attracted and surrounded yourself with exclusively people who dig your vibe. You feel me?
Yeah.
And you owe it to yourself to be your most authentic self and make the people who are going to be uncomfortable with your authentic self uncomfortable, and make the people who are going to love your most authentic self love your most authentic self. Like I'm telling you, like the relationships that you will forge by being your truest self will be so much more meaningful to you than anything that falls off.
And I always have, because like I feel it, because I've always felt that way. Like the friends I make are through me being my truest self, just talking shit, and it shows. But
monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.